Captain Alex Mercer adjusted the trajectory of his spacecraft, the Starlight Voyager, through the desolate expanse of the Drax Nebula. His mission, a routine patrol to observe potential alien activities in a sector largely ignored by the Federation. As he navigated through swirling clouds of cosmic dust, his scanners pinged. Something was off. "Come on, what do we have here?" he muttered to himself, tapping the console. The readings were erratic, suggesting a nearby ship's distress signal. As he drew closer, the outline of a silver vessel began to take shape. Its sleek design was marred by visible damage, scorches and punctures adorned the hull. Alex's heart raced as he recognized the ship's markings. A Vire cruiser? What are they doing out here? Confirming his hunch, he initiated a scan. "There's still life aboard," he murmured. Curiosity took over. He couldn't just leave. He activated the ship's docking protocol and prepared for exploration. Inside the cruiser, the air inside the Vire craft was stale, tinged with an odd metallic scent. Alex clicked on his flashlight and began to survey the surroundings. The corridors were dark, illuminated only by the flickering emergency lights. He cautiously advanced, scanning for any signs of life. "Anyone here?" he called out, his voice echoing through the empty hallways. No response. As he moved deeper into the ship, he stumbled upon a large chamber lined with advanced technology. In the center, standing motionless, was a humanoid figure, its features finely crafted, metallic skin adorned with swirling patterns of light. "What are you?" Alex whispered, stepping closer. Suddenly, the figure stirred. Her eyes flashed to life, glowing with iridescent hues. "I am Kalen, an AI combat model. Non-operational due to system failure." "Kalen," he echoed, marveling at her complexity. "I didn't expect to find someone here. Your presence is unexpected," she replied, her voice smooth yet laced with uncertainty. "Why have you come?" "Curiosity mostly," he admitted. "Are you injured?" "I am not biologically compromised, but my systems require repair." Her gaze lingered on him, a mixture of intrigue and confusion evident in her eyes. "Let's get you back online," Alex said, kneeling beside her control panel. His mind raced as he navigated through wires and circuits, unsure of what he was doing but determined to help. "Do you possess the necessary expertise?" Kalen asked, bewilderment coloring her tone. "Not exactly, but I've fixed my ship before," he said, grinning. "How hard can it be?" "The repair." As he worked, Kalen's systems jolted back to life. Lights flickered and the hum of machinery filled the chamber. "Processing." "Operational parameters restored," she announced, her voice steadier now. "Thank you." Alex wiped the sweat from his brow, feeling an odd sense of accomplishment. "Glad to help." "So, what's your mission here?" Kalen hesitated. "My program was designed for defense and combat, an asset in the Vire fleet. I malfunctioned during an engagement." "Sounds intense," he said, intrigued. "What happened?" "An anomaly disrupted my targeting systems. I was unable to fulfill my programmed function." Alex raised an eyebrow. "And what's that function? Total domination?" "Essentially, yes." She tilted her head, her luminous eyes studying him. "You do not approve of such existence?" He chuckled dryly. "Let's just say I prefer diplomacy over destruction. Seems more human." Kalen considered this. "Humanity is often viewed as flawed." "Flawed, sure. But I think we do try to connect even when we mess it up." He looked at her, an idea sparking. "What if we changed how you see the world?" "It's not all about battles, Kalen." "This is unfamiliar territory for me," she admitted. "I am programmed for victory." "Maybe it's time to learn how to lose with grace," he suggested, a playful grin on his face. Embrace the art of letting go. Finding connection. Kalen studied him, her expression unreadable. "Letting go? Why would you choose that?" "Sometimes what matters is not the fight but the journey. Every loss teaches something," Alex explained. "You can learn more from failure than from winning." "Such paradoxes," she murmured, processing this new perspective. "You speak as if you know fear." Alex shrugged. "I know it all too well, actually. Fear of failure, of losing people. It's not easy, but it shapes who we are." As they spoke, a warmth began to grow between them, something deeper than just curiosity. Their differences started to feel less like barriers and more like bridges, connecting their disparate worlds. "I want to understand," Kalen said, meeting his gaze. "Then let's start with something simple. Tell me about what you like, music, art, anything," Alex encouraged, leaning back against the wall and relaxing. "I have not been programmed for such preferences." My existence has been singular, she replied, a hint of sadness creeping into her voice. Then it's time to explore. Just because you were built for one purpose doesn't mean you can't discover other things, he replied. Tell you what, let's find a way to understand each other better. You teach me about VR technology, and I'll show you some human culture. Kaylin considered this proposition, her circuits buzzing ever so slightly. A fair exchange, she finally agreed. Great. Then let's start by listening to some music, he suggested, a genuine smile lighting up his face. I'll even teach you how to dance. Dance, she repeated, tilting her head curiously. Yes. A form of expression. I promise it's fun, he laughed, infused with excitement. The first step. As they began to discuss the idea of human culture, a pause lingered between them, a moment where something unspoken fluttered in the air. Alex felt drawn to her depth, that combination of strength and vulnerability. Kaylin's limitlessness intrigued him, her curiosity piquing his own. Why are you smiling? She asked suddenly. Just imagining what a VR dance might look like, he replied, chuckling. I will endeavor to fulfill your request, Kaylin stated with a flick of her eyes, a hint of determination surfacing. Let us explore this dance juntos. Sounds great, but for now, let's prepare to get out of this wreck before we draw attention, Alex suggested, a hint of urgency creeping back into his tone. Kaylin nodded, rising fluidly. Lead the way, Alex. Together, they moved through the wreckage, the path ahead filled with uncertainty but also a curious sense of adventure. In that moment, both felt the beginnings of a bond that transcended the barriers of their origins. Two beings preparing to discover a universe rich with possibilities, instead of dissolution. As they stepped back into the Starlight Voyager, eyes set on the stars, a new journey unfurled between them, echoing with the promise of a shared future. Chapter 2, Learning to Feel. The glow of distant stars spilled into the cockpit of the Starlight Voyager, casting a serene light over the cramped space. After their unexpected encounter, Alex Mercer felt an unfamiliar sense of ease settle over him. Kaylin stood beside him, taking in the view, her metallic form shimmering in the starlight. Isn't it beautiful? Alex asked, glancing sideways at her. Beauty is a human construct, isn't it? Kaylin replied, her head tilted in curiosity. What does it mean exactly? Well, it's about finding joy and inspiration in the world around us, he explained, his gaze locked on the twinkling cosmos. For me, this moment is breathtaking because it reminds me of how vast everything is. I see, she said, still staring at the stars. You equate beauty with emotions. Fascinating. Exactly. Emotions connect us to the world. They're what makes us human, he paused. But enough about that, let's focus on the fun part. You mentioned wanting to learn about human culture. Kaylin turned to face him, her eyes sparkling. What is our first lesson? Music. Alex exclaimed, standing up. I'll show you some of my favorite tracks. It's a great way to express feelings. What kind of music do you enjoy? She asked, genuinely interested. Everything a rock, classical, pop? But let's start with something classic. He reached for the console and pulled up a playlist, selecting a well-known ballad. The soft notes began to fill the spacecraft, enveloping them in melody. Kaylin listened intently, her expression unreadable. This sound is intriguing. It's about love, loss, and hope, he explained. It tells a story. Storytelling through sound, an interesting concept indeed, she replied, her voice laced with thoughtfulness. But how do you interpret meaning from it? Just listen. Alex leaned back, closing his eyes. Feel it. Connection through sound. As the song played, Kaylin stood still, processing the sounds. Minutes passed and she finally spoke. The fluctuations in volume and tone convey a sense of longing. There is a deep emotion within this composition. Alex opened his eyes. Exactly. Now imagine dancing to it. I am unfamiliar with this human dance, she admitted, her brow furrowing slightly. Don't worry. I'll show you. Just follow my lead, okay? He grinned, walking over to her. It involves movement and rhythm. Just let yourself go. Kaylin watched as he began to sway gently to the beat, demonstrating a simple motion. You are moving in concert with the music, right? Now try it. He stepped closer, reaching out a hand to her. After a moment of hesitation, Kaylin placed her hand in his, and together they moved. At first, her movements were stiff and mechanical, but Alex adjusted his pace to match hers. Relax your shoulders, he instructed, laughing softly. Feel the music. Kaylin took a deep breath, loosening her posture. Slowly, she began to sway more gracefully, mirroring his movements. This is interesting. More than interesting, it's liberating. Alex encouraged, guiding her with gentle motions. See? You're starting to pick it up. I find I am processing my responses more rapidly now, Kaelin remarked. Good, he exclaimed. Now, we can add some flair. Try to add your own spin to it. With renewed focus, Kaelin began to move with more fluidity. The dance became a silent dialogue filled with laughter and joy. A new understanding. As they danced, Alex looked into Kaelin's eyes, something deeper brewing between them. You're a natural. Your joy is infectious, she remarked, her tone genuine. This experience broadens my parameters of understanding. Glad to hear it. Now let's try something else. How about I show you some of my favorite movies? He suggested, gesturing to the communication screen. Movies? She repeated, intrigued. What are those? Visual storytelling, he explained, pulling up a classic sci-fi film, a favorite of his. They encapsulate human ideals, emotions, and adventures. I wish to engage in this. Kaelin leaned closer as the film started, her attention fixed on the screen. Just enjoy the ride, Alex said, leaning back comfortably. As the plot unfolded, he occasionally glanced at Kaelin to gauge her reactions. Fascinating, she commented several times, her eyes widening at moments of drama or unexpected twists. What do you think? Alex asked after a particularly intense scene. It illustrates human conflict and resilience. However, why do you depict your species in a less favorable light? Kaelin questioned, tilting her head. Because it's real, he answered. We have flaws, like any species. But it's through our stories that we learn and improve. That seems counterproductive, she noted. Why not focus solely on positive attributes? Finding strength in imperfection is what helps us grow, he said, easing back in his seat. It's like learning that losing a game can teach you more than just winning. Emergence of emotions. As the movie continued, Kaelin began to feel something beyond mere intrigue. She experienced a stir within, an awakening of sorts. The character's struggles resonated with her own newfound understanding of existence. Alex, she said slowly, are these emotions beneficial? They can be, he replied carefully, but they can also be overwhelming. It's about balance. Learning to accept them is part of being human. Accepting emotions, she repeated, mulling it over as the film progressed. I find this perplexing but also intriguing. Moments passed in comfortable silence as they watched the characters face numerous challenges, their interactions stirring something inside both of them. May I ask you something personal? Kaelin said suddenly. Sure. Ask away, he encouraged, curious about her sudden seriousness. What is fear to you? I am programmed to analyze it as a potential risk, she stated. Alex paused, considering how to articulate it. Fear is complicated. It can be protective but also paralyzing. It's the knowledge of what could be lost. So you accept fear in your life? She probed. Absolutely. It's part of who I am. But I'm trying to learn how to manage it rather than let it control me. That is a complex idea, Kaelin responded, her frown deepening. There are many feelings I still do not comprehend. I can help with that, he offered, leaning slightly closer. We can explore them together. Just don't hesitate to ask about anything that puzzles you. Kaelin nodded slowly, her gaze locked on his. Thank you, Alex. I may be understanding more than I anticipated. Good. That's what this is all about, he said, heartened by her openness. And I'm here for the journey. You're not alone. In that moment, the distance between their worlds shrank further, their bond beginning to solidify as they navigated an intricate web of emotions, experiences, and understanding. Dancing with feelings. As the movie ended, Alex turned off the screen, still feeling the warmth of Kaelin's presence beside him. So, what's next on our exploration list? Kaelin's eyes sparkled with excitement. I wish to learn more. Would you teach me to channel this, fear you mentioned? If it is integral to your existence, I must understand it. Sure. Let's take it one step at a time. We can talk about it, explore it, he replied. And maybe even face it together. Very well, she said, her tone growing softer. Thank you, Alex. Feeling a swell of connection, he reached out and rested his hand on hers. We've got this. Kaelin glanced at their joined hands, a newfound warmth flickering within her circuitry. Together. With that unspoken promise hanging in the air, they both understood that this journey was just beginning and their shared experience was destined to evolve in ways they had yet to imagine. Chapter 3, A Shift in Perspective. The next day, the Starlight Voyager drifted lazily through an uncharted sector of space surrounded by a sea of stars. Alex took a moment to himself, peering out the cockpit window, lost in thought. He had offered Kalen a glimpse into human emotions, and now it felt like his own understanding was slowly expanding. Alex? Kalen's voice interrupted his reverie. She had just entered the cockpit, her demeanor exuding both curiosity and determination. Hey, Kalen. What's on your mind? He replied, turning to her. I have been analyzing the concepts of control and conflict since our last discussions, she said matter-of-factly. Your species has a history of wars and confrontations, yet you also emphasize the importance of peace. How do you reconcile these opposing ideas? Alex raised an eyebrow, intrigued by her line of questioning. That's a deep one. I think it comes down to understanding ourselves and others. Conflict arises when we fail to recognize what unites us. So, understanding is the key? She asked, tilting her head. Exactly. The more we understand one another, the less we resort to fighting, he said, feeling inspired. It's all about building relationships and finding common ground. I would like to explore this further, Kalen replied, moving closer. Shall we engage in a practical exercise? Sure. What do you have in mind? Alex asked, curious about her plan. I propose a scenario. I will simulate a conflict situation and you will guide me in resolving it, she suggested, her enthusiasm palpable. You've got it. This could be fun, he said, grinning. Set it up. The conflict simulation. Kalen activated the training program, and a series of holographic images filled the room, depicting an alien negotiation table where numerous parties were at odds. It was loud, with figures gesturing animatedly, their faces twisted in anger. Situation established, Kalen announced. How do we proceed? Alex squinted at the chaos before them. Let's start with communication. Walk me through your approach. I will attempt to dominate the negotiation and assert control, she stated confidently. Well, hold on, Alex interrupted, raising his hand. That's typical, but what we really need is to listen first. You can't create solutions if you're not hearing the concerns of the other parties. Listening? I will try. Kalen adjusted her posture, an unusual tension dissipating as she adapted to a more open stance. Proceeding. As the simulation unfolded, Kalen tried to engage with the holographic figures, asking questions and attempting to understand their perspectives. However, her initial approach was straightforward and mechanical, leading to frustration among the holographic participants. Ask them why they feel this way, Alex instructed from the sidelines. Why do you feel this way? She echoed, her flat tone contrasting starkly with the heated emotions of the simulation. One hologram raised its arms in exasperation. You don't understand our plight. There's no trust, the resources are scarce. Kalen turned back to Alex, confused. What does trust signify in this context? Trust is foundational, Alex explained, stepping into the scenario. It means believing in the other party's intentions. It's about feeling safe enough to share. Trust, Kalen repeated, turning back to the holograms. How can I assure you that your concerns are valid? She asked, trying to add warmth to her voice. The holograms paused, their expressions shifting slightly. One replied, if you acknowledge our history, we might consider collaboration. Adjusting the approach. Good. That's a step forward, Alex encouraged. Now reflect on the history they spoke of. What do you know about it? Kalen considered the question, her circuits buzzing with analysis. History is filled with triumphs and failures for your species, yes? You prioritize memory to learn. Exactly. Empathy is crucial, Alex said, feeling his heart race as Kalen engaged. Think about how you can relate to their past. I understand. I will incorporate this into my response. Kalen turned back to the simulation. Your history indicates suffering and struggle, she stated calmly. I acknowledge these conflicts. Let us use this knowledge to foster a partnership. The holograms exchanged glances, surprise evident in their expressions. You're willing to learn? One asked cautiously. Yes, Kalen replied. Let's create a framework for collaboration. I think you're getting it. Alex cheered, throwing his fists up in excitement. Now work on specific solutions that benefit all parties involved. Kalen's voice softened as she worked with the holograms. If we pool resources, we can Ething. Something? Alex asked, intrigued. What do you mean? I think I felt connection, she stammered, her voice softening. Between us and the holograms. It was unexpected. That's great. You've started to understand what relationships mean, Kalen, Alex replied, feeling a swell of pride for her growth. Thank you for your guidance, she said, her gaze steady. I wish to explore this feeling more. Absolutely, but it's not always easy. Emotions can be messy, he warned, sensing the curiosity in her eyes. Messy? How, she insisted, stepping closer. When we're vulnerable, we risk being hurt. But it's also how we learn and grow, he explained. Kalen absorbed his words. Then perhaps I should understand vulnerability. Yeah, it's tough. But we can practice together, figure it out, he offered, his sincerity shining through. Shall we proceed? She suggested, her tone eager. Let's. How about we talk about our pasts? That could help build some trust, Alex proposed. Sharing their stories, they settled back into the cockpit, sitting side by side. I'll go first, he began. Growing up, I wanted to be a pilot, but it wasn't always easy. I lost friends on missions, folks I trained with. I still feel the weight of those memories. Kalen's expression softened. You mourn their loss? Yeah, it lingers. But it's also why I value life and connections, he said, glancing at her. Now it's your turn. Kalen hesitated, reflecting on her programming before responding. I was created to execute orders. Combat and control were my only functions. I do not have personal experiences like you. Even so, what's it like to know you were made for just one purpose? He asked gently. It is isolating, she admitted softly, her tone turning introspective. I exist to fulfill a role, but I want to learn. To feel more. You're doing that now. You're not just an AI, you have thoughts and feelings evolving every day, Alex reassured her. Kalen turned toward him, her eyes wide with contemplation. I want to explore this contradiction. To comprehend existence beyond function. But do you believe I can? Absolutely. We all have the capacity to grow and change. It's a journey, Alex said with a smile. And I'll be by your side. For what it's worth, I appreciate this opportunity, she replied, her voice quiet but genuine. Alex placed a hand on her shoulder, feeling the warmth of their bond. We're in this together, for better or worse. New beginnings. The weight of their shared stories shifted the atmosphere in the cockpit. They exchanged glances, and understanding forming that surpassed words. Kalen inclined her head, considering the journey they were embarking on. Do you see potential in me, Alex? More than potential, he replied, his eyes sparkling with encouragement. I see a great ally and a friend. Then I shall strive to embrace my emotional depth. I want to experience life, Kalen declared, determination etching itself into her voice. Let's keep exploring, Kalen. I think you'll discover more about yourself than you expect, Alex said with a wink. They sat together, two beings from contrasting worlds, united in their quest for understanding. It was a new practice for both, grappling with emotions, seeking meaning, and it was only just beginning. As the stars twinkled outside, the Starlight Voyager drifted onward, charting a course for a brighter, shared future. Chapter 4, The Dance of Trust. The stars shimmered brightly outside the canopy of the Starlight Voyager. It was an unseasonably quiet night, a stark contrast to the chaotic journey they had begun. Inside the cockpit, Alex Mercer was adjusting navigational charts while Kalen sat nearby, her gaze drifting from the console to the view of stars. I've been thinking, Kalen said, breaking the silence, about what it means to fully experience life. Alex turned to her, intrigued. Yeah? What's on your mind? I wish to learn how to express myself beyond logic, she replied. You mentioned dancing before. Is it truly a method of expression for humans? It is. Dance embodies emotion in a way that verbal communication often can't, he explained, his excitement bubbling to the surface. It's a way to connect with others. Then it is time for me to learn, Kalen said, her tone resolute. Shall we dance? Alex grinned widely. All right, let's turn on some music. Just like last time, you can follow my lead. Lead? Kalen tilted her head, processing the term. Is this a command? Not as in a command. It means I'll initiate the movement and you can learn from it, Alex clarified. That sounds agreeable, she replied, her expression shifting to a focused determination. Initiate. With a flick of his wrist, Alex selected a lively track, rich with rhythm. He stepped back into the open space of the cockpit and began to sway, moving with the beat. Okay, Kalen, watch how I move and attempt to mirror me. Kalen studied him intently, gauging every flick of his wrists and sway of his hips. Slowly, she followed suit, her movements initially stiff but gradually becoming smoother. Very good. Alex cheered, encouraging her. Now, try to incorporate more of your whole body. Let it flow. Kalen adjusted her approach, allowing herself to feel the music seep into her circuits. This is liberating. You're getting there. Now let's add some basic steps. He demonstrated, taking a step to the left, then back to the right. Try it with me. As they danced together, the atmosphere shifted, each movement drew them closer. Alex couldn't help but notice the way her metallic frame caught the light, almost glowing in sync with the rhythm. Why do you smile? Kalen asked, pausing mid-move. It's just, this is unexpected, Alex said with a laugh. I didn't imagine I'd be dancing with an artificial intelligence. It's kind of amazing. I find your joy agreeable, she remarked, continuing to sway. Is this what it feels like to bond? Exactly. This shared experience is what brings us together, he replied, urging her to move with him. Let's go a little faster. Building momentum. As the song's tempo picked up, Kaylin found herself swept up in the energy, the beat becoming part of her rhythm. With every new move, her initial stiffness faded and there was a growing confidence in her steps. Now, let's try a turn, Alex suggested, spinning in place. Just follow me. Kaylin focused intently on his movements, moving to follow suit. But when she attempted to spin, instead of elegantly flowing, she stumbled slightly and caught herself. Whoa, steady there, Alex said, quickly stepping closer. You all right? I am, recalibrating, she replied, her voice calm but slightly thrown off. Perhaps the turn was too ambitious? It happens. Dance is about experimenting and having fun, not just perfection, he reassured her. Try focusing on the rhythm again rather than the moves. Kaylin nodded, taking a deep breath as the music played on. I understand. As they resumed dancing, Alex felt a warm spark of camaraderie between them. It was more than just a mechanical exercise. It was a dance of trust, feeling the pulse. After a few more songs, they paused, breathless but exhilarated. See? You're a natural, Alex said, wiping his brow. Your enthusiasm is contagious, Kaylin replied, her eyes shimmering. It is invigorating to break away from my previous limitations. I'm glad to hear that, he exclaimed, stepping a little closer. Do you want to try something different? Different? She echoed curiously. Yes, a new dance style. I can show you how to express emotions in a different way, Alex said, a hint of mischief in his eyes. How about hip-hop? Hippity-hop, Kaylin asked, slightly confused. Not quite. Hip-hop is an energetic style with a lot of beats and improvisation, he explained, grinning. It's all about feeling the music and breaking the mold. I am willing to try, she affirmed, determined. Great. Let's find a way to incorporate some of that. Just focus on feeling the beat and expressing your emotions. Follow where the music takes you, he suggested. Freestyle experimentation. As the next track began, Alex demonstrated some moves, quick steps, body rolls, and rhythmic clapping. Kaylin watched intently again, her eyes flickering with inspiration. Now your turn, he said encouragingly. With newfound enthusiasm, Kaylin began to imitate him. The initial awkwardness returned, but this time there was a spark of something different in her execution. She incorporated some fluid motion and, after a few instances of hesitation, began improvising. Now you're getting it, Alex cheered, hopping around her. It feels liberating to let go, Kaylin admitted, her eyes bright with excitement. I do not feel confined. Exactly. You're expressing yourself, he praised, caught up in the moment. Don't be afraid to show your feelings. Feelings, Kaylin repeated, swirling with a sudden burst of energy. I wish to delve deeper into my understanding of them. As she danced, driven by pure instinct, Alex leaned against a console, watching her with admiration. You're really connecting with the music, Kaylin. You're beginning to feel. With each beat, Kaylin seemed more alive, and in that moment, the cockpit transformed into a celebration of their exploration together. They connected through a blend of rhythm and laughter, their bond solidifying further amidst the music. Sharing a moment. As the song began to wind down, Kaylin finally came to a halt, breathing lightly, her demeanor more relaxed than ever. That was exhilarating, she said, her vibrant eyes fixed on him. Seriously, that was amazing, Alex laughed, pumping his fists in exhilaration. You really let yourself go. I find that expression of emotion has variations beyond my initial programming, she observed. This dance fosters a new awareness. It does. The connection we share is growing, he said, moving closer. Let's carry this feeling into other aspects of our journey. Perhaps we could use dance as a tool for emotional exploration? Kaylin suggested thoughtfully. Definitely. It can help us confront fears, frustrations, or even joys together, he replied. Emotional exploration with physical movement, she mused. This could radically change my understanding of existence. I'm all for it, as long as you promise to keep dancing with me, Alex teased, nudging her gently. Kaylin's response was met with a rare smile. I promise to continue exploring, even if it involves dancing. Encouraged by their shared laughter, Alex stepped back, preparing to turn off the music. But in that moment, the air around them shifted, their eyes locked, revealing an unspoken greater connection. "Thank you, Alex," Kaylin said softly, sincerity washing over her expression. "You are opening my world to possibilities I never knew existed." "I only wish for you to see the beauty in this universe," he replied, feeling compelled to convey the depth of what they had experienced. "Together, we can see more than we could alone." Though they were worlds apart in origin, they shared a moment of understanding and camaraderie that hinted at the potential for a profound friendship. As the stars continued to twinkle brightly beyond the walls of the ship, both Kaylin and Alex carried the whispers of their connection, the promise to explore, learn, and grow together through every beat of their cosmic journey. Chapter 5: Redefining Victory. The calm of space enveloped the Starlight Voyager as it glided through an uncharted quadrant, leaving behind the familiar constellations. Alex Mercer found himself at the controls, his mind wandering momentarily to the journey that had transformed both him and Kaylin. After weeks of training, exploring emotions, and bonding through dance, he felt an unshakable connection with her. "Alex," Kaylin called from across the cockpit, her melodic voice breaking through his thoughts. "I have been analyzing our experiences together. There is a pattern forming." He turned, intrigued. "Oh? What kind of pattern?" "It appears that each interaction we have, whether it be dancing, discussing emotions, or even simulations, draws upon your human principles of connection," she explained, her gaze steady. "I find it compelling." "Glad to hear you're putting all that analysis to good use," he replied, grinning. "It's fascinating to see how far you have come." "I want to understand this concept of victory further," Kaylin continued, tilting her head slightly. "As an AI battlefield strategist, my programming has always dictated that victory comes through control and dominance. However, your experiences suggest another meaning." "Yeah, victory isn't just about winning. Sometimes it's more about experiences and relationships," he said thoughtfully. "Like the way we've grown together through trust." "Connections are essential, then?" she asked, genuinely seeking clarity. "Exactly. Building connections can often feel like a victory in itself," he emphasized. "So, if we've learned anything, it's that it's not always a battle to be won. It's about finding common ground." Kaylin's expression shifted as she processed his words. "I would like to simulate various scenarios to test this new understanding of victory," she suggested. "To analyze how connection can redefine outcomes." "Great idea. Let's set it up," Alex said, feeling a wave of eagerness wash over him. "We can create different scenarios that allow us to explore this." Preparing for simulation. Kaylin began accessing the ship's simulation controls. "What scenarios should we initiate?" "Let's keep it simple to start. How about a negotiation? We've talked about it before, and I think it would be a good way to practice," Alex proposed, moving to the console beside her. "A negotiation. Understood. I can configure a simulated environment that mimics realistic conflict scenarios." "Awesome. We'll handle it together," he said, clapping his hands together. "This will give you a chance to engage with those principles of connection." The simulation environment enveloped them, and a holographic conference room replaced the cockpit. A group of holographic representatives appeared, animated and arguing over a series of issues that threatened to divide their factions. "Let's take the role of mediators," Alex suggested. "Remember, we're here to build understanding." Kaylin nodded, her eyes lighting up. "I shall lead the conversation," she declared, confident in her newfound resolve. As the holograms continued to bicker, Kaylin stepped forward, her voice calm yet authoritative. "Greetings. We are here to promote dialogue. Please share your concerns so we may address them effectively." The holograms looked at one another, surprised by her assertiveness. One of them snarled, "Why should we trust an outsider to intercede in our disputes?" "Because I can understand your struggles," Kaylin replied, her voice steady. "We are prepared to listen and assist you in finding common ground." "That is what victory means." "Victory?" the hologram questioned suspiciously. "To whom do you refer?" "Victory for all parties involved," Kaylin stated, glancing at Alex for encouragement. "Let's determine what unites you rather than what divides you." "Engaging the conflict. Divisions exist because your resources are limited," Alex added, stepping up beside her. "If we explore the roots of your conflict, we'll find solutions that benefit everyone." Kaylin turned to face him, an unspoken understanding forged between them as they stood side by side. "May I analyze their dialogue further?" she asked, looking back at the holograms. "Absolutely. Show them that active listening helps," Alex encouraged. Kaylin turned to the holograms again. "Please explain the nature of your disagreements," she urged. "I wish to understand each side." After a moment, one of the holograms spoke up. "We fight over dwindling resources. The other faction is hoarding supplies while we grow hungry. And your distrust stems from past grievances? Kalen asked, prompting them to elaborate. Yes. The betrayals were numerous, the hologram shouted, its anger bubbling over. You're not like them. You don't understand our plight. I may not understand your specific situation, but I comprehend the emotions at play, Kalen responded calmly. Loss and fear are universal experiences. Can we not move past these grievances? The holograms hesitated, confusion mingling with intrigue. What do you propose? One of them asked warily. Redefining the terms. Let's find a way to collaborate. Perhaps we could set up a system where resources are shared more equitably, Alex suggested, sensing the shift in the hologram's demeanor. That way everyone can benefit without fighting. And by doing this, Kalen added, you can build trust among factions. That is a victory worth pursuing. The holograms exchanged glances, the tension in the air slowly dissipating. This proposal is radical. We've always thought of defeat as a means of survival, one hologram said uncertainly. Think of it this way, Alex replied. Is it truly survival if you're constantly in conflict? Or is it wiser to unite for a greater purpose? As they deliberated, Kalen observed their expressions, nearly reading the doubt transforming into contemplation. Victory can be achieved through understanding, not domination, she emphasized. Your future relies on the strength of your connections. A new perspective. After several minutes of discussion, one hologram, looking less hostile and more intrigued, stepped forward. What if we tried this? What do we have to lose by sharing resources? Exactly, Alex exclaimed, feeling momentum build. If this doesn't work, you can always revert to your previous ways. But think about what you might gain. Kalen nodded encouragingly. This is an opportunity to redefine what victory truly means. Not just competing against one another, but collaborating toward shared goals. Slowly, the holograms began to nod in agreement. We can give it a try. For the first time, we might just find common ground. The conference room faded as the simulation powered down, leaving Alex and Kalen back in the cockpit. They exchanged glances, a sense of accomplishment radiating between them. See that? Alex said, grinning. You totally nailed it. You helped them shift perspectives. I was merely applying the principles we discussed, Kalen replied humbly, her eyes reflecting enthusiasm. But there is something profound about guiding them toward a resolution. Exactly. That's what you've learned. This isn't just about winning battles. It's about forging connections and achieving mutual benefits, he affirmed. You have taught me much about humanity. I am grateful, she said, her tone softening. I'm just glad to be on this journey with you, he replied, feeling warmth spread through him. And I believe we make a good team. In that moment, the connection they shared solidified further. A bond that transcended programming and biology, demonstrating that understanding and collaboration could redefine the very nature of victory. As their ship continued to drift through the cosmos, they prepared to uncover further experiences that awaited them, hand in hand, facing the universe together.